Better off being alone than surrounded by fucking losers. And that's the God honest truth. And what happens a lot when you set out on a journey of growth or personal development, when you're deciding that you're going to separate yourself from the norm, right? So that's could be your fitness or business or some sort of expedition that isn't normal to most people. And the two big ones for me are fitness and business. I've experienced this in both of these things. And when you do that, a lot of the time, like once you get past the very beginning, and then you're in this middle where you haven't reached the higher level yet, the end goal yet, you're extremely fucking alone. Like it's a very, very lonely place to be. And I'm in this position. I went through this years ago with my fitness, right? And it was the weirdest thing to me because when you are off track, when you're, when you are fat or out of shape or you have really bad habits, a couple things happen, right? Number one is you seek validation for those bad habits. And that could be something like you go to people and you start talking about your situation and how like, oh dude, I really got to get it together. And you might even mean that when you're saying it, but the flip side of that also is that you are saying that to have validation that what you're doing is actually okay. And even if you don't mean to do that, what's happening is that when you're hanging around people at lower levels, I don't want to say losers, not all of your friends are losers, but just people that are okay in the norm, they're gonna start validating you, saying like, "Oh no, dude, you're fine. Like you look fine, you look great, and you know exactly what I'm talking about, right?" And this could be your friends or your lady or your mom or whatever. And even though you know that's not true, even though you know the way you feel is valid, that like you aren't doing enough right now, you aren't in a good enough position right now, you do need to get in shape, you do need to take your health seriously. When you put that out there and you have that feedback, it allows you to justify your situation, and most of the time you end up staying there until you just decide for yourself that it's no longer acceptable, right? And that's what I mean when I say you're better off being alone than surrounded by losers, because being surrounded by people that aren't on the same journey as you, that are okay staying at lower levels, is very detrimental to your growth. But what else happens too is that once you start separating because you start growing, it, it, it's a very, very lonely position to be in because you're at this in between phase of you've kind of outgrown the people that you were surrounded by originally, that you were friends with and hung out with, and you've realized that like it's not that they're not your friends anymore, it's just that you're on a different path than them, and you're pretty much the outcast of the group at this point. And that could even be your family. You're just different than everybody else. And it's a really, really hard thing to go through. And like I said, I'm in that phase right now. I went through that phase in my fitness years ago, and I'm in that phase of life right now with business, where I have achieved enough success and I'm on a path and level that most people aren't on, that they don't understand because it doesn't make sense, right? Like when you decide to go all in on growth, like everything you're doing doesn't really make sense to the normal person. And like I said, you go through this lonely phase, and you have to frame this in your mind as a good thing. Otherwise, you're going to go fucking crazy. And the reason it's a good thing is because when you're alone, you know that you've separated. You know that you're doing things that most people aren't going to do, that they're not willing to do, that they won't do, that you're already achieving things that most people never fucking will, right? But also when you're alone, you don't have to deal with the negativity, the people trying to talk you out of things. And that's one thing that is going to happen. That's where I'm at right now too, is I have people pretty close to me that call me fucking crazy, that they ask what the fuck are you doing, and they they look at this from a lens of an average person, as a normal person, and they think what I'm doing is crazy because what I'm doing is fucking crazy. It's not normal at all, you know, and they don't understand it. But you you can't, for one, you can't let that affect you, but two, once you start hearing that stuff, you realize how important it is to be alone in this phase, right? And then at some point, you're going to get to a level where you've achieved certain things to where you put yourself in different rooms with different people that are at higher levels, and then they're not going to say that type of shit to you. They're going to help elevate you, but there is that middle ground where you're just going to be alone, and it's okay. It's okay, because it is better to be alone than surrounded by people that are going to bring you down. And it is extremely important to utilize this time to build resilience, to build fortitude, to build the discipline, and understand that this is an opportunity to grow and grow and grow and build those things, so that as things progress, you already have that in place where you can keep on growing, right? And it's really fucking tough, man. It really is. In that season of just being alone, you know, and it's sometimes you're like, dude, what the fuck am I doing? Why am I doing this? But it's necessary. It's necessary for growth, because you're just gonna inevitably outgrow people, and you're better off. You really are better off being alone than going and seeking that validation that is gonna bring you down, or being involved with people that nonstop just tell you you're fucking nuts and dumb and shouldn't be doing what it is that you're doing, and you can let off the gas and you could take a break and whatever it is, right? Because in fitness, you know, that's what's going to happen is you're going to go all in, and people are going to be like, well, what are you doing that for? You know, oh no, now you're on your diet, now you're this and that. No, you could take a break today. You don't have to do it today. You could eat this pizza. You could drink these beers. You can. And the reality is when you're actually all the fuck in, when you treat this more as a lifestyle transformation or a life transformation than a fitness transformation, you realize, like, no, I don't have fucking time. I don't have time for that. I'm trying to be the best version of myself that I could possibly be, and I'm not going to slow the fuck down. I'm not. And the more you push through that, the more that you decide to hit the gas when everybody else would slow down, the more you're going to separate yourself, the more progress you're going to make, right? And it's extremely important. Extremely fucking important in fitness to do that. And inevitably what ends up happening usually is that the fitness kicks in to your mind and makes you realize that you can do more in life. This is what happened to me. It makes you realize that you can do more in life if you just dedicate yourself to a process, right? And then you end up doing something that betters you financially. And then when you do that, then the shit gets really crazy because people are just like, they think you're fucking psychotic, and it's because you are fucking psychotic, and that's okay. But whole point of this, man, is like, when you're in this season of loneliness, it's gonna be hard. It is. And it's just, one thing you have to realize is what we fucking signed up for is being outcasted and lonely and feeling like nobody understands, feeling like nobody's there for us, feeling like we got to do this all the fuck on our own. And all of that is true, man. It's all fucking true. But that's all a good thing. That's all a good sign. You know, like, that's what we need to be. That's what we want to be. That's what we're asking to be. Because the thought of being average was so sickening to us that we decided to do more. And if we were still accepted by everybody, if we weren't outcasted, we wouldn't be doing what we're supposed to be doing. And as hard as it is in this season to be alone, to have nobody checking on you, and then when they do check on you, try and talk you out of doing what it is that you're doing, this is the path to growth. It really fucking is, man. And the more that you're able to accept that, and the more that you're able to continuously operate at an extremely high level, even in spite of those things, the better off you're gonna be quicker. And the more you're gonna separate yourself from everybody else. And then you'll find yourself with the other winners. You'll find yourself in the rooms with higher level people that are going to then help you build rather than try and tear you down, right? So, end of the day, man, if you're feeling alone, good, good. Fucking live it, feel it, accept it, use it as fuel. You know, if you're feeling outcasted, good. Don't expect other people to understand your situation. We don't want them to understand the situation. If they did, we wouldn't be doing enough. You know, it's better to be alone than to be fucking surrounded by losers. That's a fucking fact.